Hi beautiful, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to do a full face of Ere Perez. And I have pretty much their products except for mascara, eyeliner, lipsticks, and primer. Ere Perez is a clean beauty brand that is based in Australia. I'm quite intrigued on trying out Ere Perez because there's a lot of reviews out there that I have seen that the products actually works great for both dry and oily skin, and also the products has got a lot of good reviews. So for today's video I am going to do a short wear test as well because the time right now is 1:56 p.m. I know I started it a little bit late. It's because I'm trying to get my voice back and I've been drinking a lot of water. So I've already applied my primer for this video and we are going to move on to the foundation. So I have the Oat Milk foundation and this is in the shade Brew. This is second to the last shade of the foundation. I believe they only offer 6 shades, which is unfortunate, but apparently the undertones of this runs a little bit more yellow and neutral, which works favorable for my skin tone. So this foundation right here is a healthy complexion with a medium to full coverage long wear foundation. It is suitable for all skin types. It's breathable formula smooths imperfections infused with oat and peach extracts to help replenish and protect skin from free radicals. So it is best to apply with a brush. The formula of this is quite thick and it's that one right there. So I am going to try and apply that foundation using a sponge because my skin is a little bit dry at the moment since I've been quite sick. My eczema is coming out once again. They gave it pretty decent coverage on my skin, though I still could see a little bit of my darkness peeking through, so I'm just gonna squirt a little bit of the foundation all over my face. So this is my face. It looks quite radiant. I feel like this has more of a natural finish. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin. The shade match is a little bit off, but I actually prefer my foundation to be a lot darker than my skin because I could always correct it with a concealer. As far as the shade from the Clean Beauty line, this is pretty much the best one that I have tried because I did try the Ilia foundation as well. Even though the shade match is quite close to my skin tone, the undertone runs a little bit red, whereas this one is on the more neutral olive side, which is not too bad against like the yellow on my neck. But I am going to squirt a little bit more just on the areas I need coverage, mainly on my cheek area. I have a little bit of dry patch on this side of my face, so it kind of accentuated that dry area, but for the most part it's pretty good. So I am going to leave the coverage as is because I don't want to pile on a lot of product because it might look a little bit heavy, but it doesn't feel a lot on my skin, if you know what I mean. I have the Annika Concealer Corrector in the shade Chai. So this is a light medium shade. Again, this is 2 shades lighter than my skin tone because I wanted to use this to highlight, also to correct the shade that I have. And this is what the concealer looks like. It comes in a pot. Ooh, it's very creamy to the touch, which is nice because usually pot concealers are kind of hard to work with because usually you have to scrape the product and then blend it onto your hand to be able to get the creaminess and the blendability that you're after. So I'm just going to place the product on the areas where I want to brighten, and then I am going to use my blender to blend. The consistency of this concealer reminds me of the Beauty foundation concealer because it's very creamy to the touch. It's quite easy to apply on the skin. Again, there are 6 shades in this concealer as well, and it matches the Oat foundation when it comes to the shades. So whatever you have on the Oat Milk foundation, you also have the same exact shade on the concealer. They did a good job on brightening my face and concealing majority of my face. However, I still have to apply a little bit more just under my eye because my eyes are quite dark. I have not been sleeping good recently because I've been quite sick. Also, I'm going to apply some on the lid as well. My main issue with using a pot concealer is that it clings into my fine line straight away. Like, it doesn't matter what type of pot concealer I use, versus if I use a normal concealer, I typically don't get that. I'm just gonna quickly set my under eye. That concealer looks so heavy on my under eye. It's not cute, and I think I poked my eye with a sponge, so now my eye is a little bit teary. And also, same thing happens on my forehead. Like, it just looks a little bit cakey, and I feel like it made me look a little bit more tired. I am not sure. Or maybe I'm sick, that's why everything is not going properly, but we'll see. So I don't have a powder blush from the brand. I do, however, have the color Pot, which is in the shade Hello. This is more of a poppy color. I didn't want to get another basic nude color because I've already purchased maybe 4 in a pot. So I wanted to pick up this bright poppy red just to zhuzh it up a bit and make my skin look alive. So I'm going to use my finger. Ooh, that is so creamy. I think that's a little bit too much. So I'm just gonna use my finger and pop a little bit of that on my cheek, and then I'll use the sponge. Maybe I'll use the brush. So I will just use the remaining product that I have on my hand. It made my skin look healthy immediately. Put a little bit on my nose as well because why not? But oh my gosh, I actually quite like that. Like, you just have to be mindful because the shade is very intense. So I would recommend for you to kind of swirl your finger and then tap that on your hand and then just pick up a brush and use that to disperse the product on your face. And honestly, a dual fiber brush is a must because it won't cake up the application. It will make it look a little bit more airbrush, and also it won't pick up whatever foundation you have underneath. Now I am going to set the rest of my face before we move on to the bronzer because I purchased the bronzer from the brand. For bronzer today, I have the Powder Blush Bronzer in the shade Roma, and this is what it looks like. Honestly, the packaging of this brand is amazing. It's very clean. It's that clean white with a very simple logo and a simple sticker at the back. And the packaging is quite heavy. It doesn't feel cheap at all. One side is a little bit darker than the other. And we'll see, because the other shade is Tulum, and I feel like the marketing that they did on that bronzer is geared towards the more lighter skin tone, whereas this one is more on that medium tan. It doesn't smell like anything. It doesn't have a lot of fallout. I feel like it's pressed quite hard, which is nice. So I'm going to pop that with a big brush. It's a very natural bronzer that you could definitely build up, and I just mixed the 2 colors together. I can't really see that much because the blush kind of overpowered everything, but I did a little bit of bronzer on my nose and it seemed to work. So the last product that I purchased is an eyeshadow, and this one is in Pretty. Now they do have 3 other different eyeshadows, but I feel like this one is quite different. So this has more of like the pink peachy tone to it. Unfortunately, one of the shades broke, which is this one right here, but I kind of pressed it down and it did a trick. So this is what the eyeshadow looks like. Anyway, so I'm going to first start off with this shade right here, which is that dark brown right there. The packaging is nice, and also I love the fact that it has a mirror. That shade is a little bit powdery, but it's so pigmented. It's more of a cool tone brown, but I quite like it, especially if I am looking a little bit sick than usual. Like, it just adds a little bit of depth, and it makes my eyes look like I have something, but I actually don't. So now I am going to pick up a smaller brush like this one, and I'm going to pick up that darker brown right there and pop that on the outer V. This shade is more plummy, and it's not as what I expected it to look, but it's still real pretty. Maybe I'll just switch with a bigger brush so I can blend it. The shade is not too intense, which actually I quite like because you could easily build it up. So I'm just gonna put the same shade underneath my lower lash line. And then I am going to deepen that outer V. It definitely takes a lot of building up, but you will get there eventually. I feel like this is more for like one stop kind of look. I'm just gonna mix the darker brown and then this neutral brown here to blend everything. Now for the shimmer, I really want to use this shade that broke, and that's a nice like bronzy shade with a little bit of pink to it. So I'm going to put that on the outer thirds of my eye. For the inner part, I am going to go and use this pink shade. It doesn't show up as this shade, but it shows up more of that gold with pink reflex. Inner corner, I am going to pick up this gold shade right here. And use it as a highlight. And for the highlighter, I am going to try and pick up this shade again. It's more of a gold shade, but I feel like it would go well with what I have going on. So I'm just gonna quickly highlight. Oh, that's pretty. I'm just gonna quickly apply a little bit of this Color Pot in Hello. I am going to just take that much because this thing is so pigmented, and I am going to dab a little bit of that on my lip, and it just looks like a flush of color. So I'm just going to quickly apply a little bit of mascara on my eyes, and then we are going to move on with the rest of the afternoon and see how everything lasts. So time check right now is 2:28 p.m. I did take a while in applying my full face, so about roughly half an hour. I could see a little bit of like heaviness on the under eye, mainly like the concealer clung onto the dry patches on my skin, which is around this area right here. My forehead, not so much. Typically, foundations like to cling on my forehead, but this time it actually looks pretty decent. Part of my face is this one right here and around here, which I have a little bit of dry patches. But other than that, the coverage is, I would say, medium coverage. It's not full, unfortunately. I would have to build up probably 2 or more layers to get that extremely full coverage. So I will check back with you later on to see how everything is holding up. Hi beautiful, the time right now is 7:40 p.m. which means that I have been wearing this full face for about 5 to 6 hours. By the looks of it, within 5-hour mark, I could tell you that I did not get oily at all or whatsoever. I could see a little bit of like shine peeping through, but it's not something that I am really worried about. The eyeshadow stayed put. And mind you, I took a nap. I woke up not too long ago and I've been sneezing a lot. That's why my voice is a little bit different. But typically on a foundation, whenever I take a nap, some parts of the coverage will usually come off. But for this foundations case, nothing came off. Everything looks pretty much the same, and I'm actually quite pleased. Overall, the foundation is amazing. That's one. Two, the blush is good, though I did not reapply it on my lips because my lips is feeling a little bit chapped today. The blush and cheek pot is good. The eyeshadow is great. It has the right amount of pigment, like it's quite sheer, but you could actually build it up to the intensity that you want. The shimmer shades, I would highly recommend for you to spritz your brush and apply it onto the lids. I used my finger and that worked out fine, though it's quite subtle from afar. The concealer is probably my least favorite, mainly because like around this area right here is pretty dry. See if I could zoom you in. So this area right here is so dry, and then like you can see a little bit of my dark circles. One thing I'll say though, it did not crease at all compared to the Juice Beauty concealer that I had, where it kind of had a similar effect, but the difference is that this concealer right here did not crease. The Juice Beauty creased badly. I feel like if I have a really good moisturized under eye, the concealer will work out fine, but on the areas on my face where I put the concealer, it looks pretty good. Yeah, overall I quite like the Ere Perez products. This brand is relatively cheaper than Juice Beauty products, and they offer a little bit more options when it comes to foundations and concealers, and also the color pots that they have. If you're getting into green beauty, I suggest you could try Ere Perez. The website ships worldwide, and I'm sure you could find a lot of retailers out there that sell Ere Perez. For me, I purchased mine from Stella Beauty, which is based in Auckland, and this is their card. So everything in there, they have majority of Ere products on their website. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more updates. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.